Okay, lesson 2, living foods, i.e. what we should be eating. So I firmly believe, based on our anatomy, that we are frugivores, much like all of our primate cousins, which means we're supposed to eat fruits, roots, shoots, nuts and seeds, and not much else. If you look at our anatomy and our gastrointestinal tract, it's about 10 times the length of our torso, which is the same with all frugivores. Carnivores, it's only about 3 times the length of their torsos, so think like big cats, bears, stuff like that. And then you have your herbivores, so your big grazing animals, rhinos, cattle, sheep, that kind of stuff. We all know cows have 4 stomachs, and they have that for a reason, because they're only eating low nutrient grass, weeds, anything that's on the ground basically that grows. Not a lot of nutrients, but high volume, and they need that digestive process to extract everything. Whether we are designed to pluck things from trees, scavenge for nuts, just like the bonobos, which are our closest primate cousin, orangutans, all those guys. So no matter what we're putting in our bodies, it can be categorized into one of 2 categories. It's either alkaline, good, or acidic, which is bad. Plant foods, if you haven't guessed by now, are alkaline, which is great for our body and reducing inflammation. And animal products, processed foods, all that junk stuff is acidic and drives up inflammation. So basically, when we're trying to lose weight and detox and fix our digestive issues, we want to eliminate as many acidic foods as possible. Alkaline foods are hydrating. As I said, they're going to reduce inflammation. They pass through our body super quickly, so there's no buildup in our intestines and gut, causing issues that build up over time. Of course, you have people that eat high meat or just eat junk most of their lives, and they seem to make it a long time, which that definitely does happen, but their body's under extreme stress, and we really have to start thinking about health span as opposed to lifespan. Those animal products as well have a high probability of parasites inside of them. Things like fish, you can see things like salmon. If you cut them open raw and have a look very closely, there's a high chance you'll be able to see some critters running around in the flesh. And that all gets passed on to us. We can live decades without realizing, just thinking that how we live and feel is normal, when in reality, if we just did a prolonged fast, and with the right protocols, they would eventually come out, and you would be amazed at the kinds of things that come out. The parasites, the worms, all sorts of grotty stuff that only seek to survive by bringing us down basically and feeding off of us. So not ideal if we're trying to be healthy and live a long time. Plant foods as well. The more you eat, the better. Doesn't really matter. They're super nutrient dense with not a lot of calories. So when you follow the eating protocols that I teach and believe in, you're not going to have a problem with weight. You can eat as much as you want, and it's going to pass through. You're not going to feel bloated. You're not going to feel weighed down and have that kind of early afternoon slump and want to go to bed. That doesn't happen to me anymore, which you do get obviously when you have lots of meat or lots of grains. Grains aren't the worst thing, but they're certainly not the best either, especially in modern Western cultures where they're sprayed with lots of glyphosate, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. It's not really stuff you want to be ingesting. because it slowly builds up over time. Then we get deficiencies and toxicities, which are really the only two main reasons why we get sick. So you'll notice if you have real authentic Italian pasta, which is pretty hard to get, at least where I am in Australia, but if you go to places like Italy and actually have the freshly made pasta and contrast it with the stuff you buy in the supermarkets here, you have no issues digesting it. So that goes with anything really. The more organic stuff you can eat, more organic varieties, the better. It's gonna have less probability of being sprayed by that stuff, and there are certain rules and regulations around that. Organic isn't perfect, but it's certainly better than the usual stuff. So people seem to freak out when they get told that fruits are healthy, and there's lots of stuff in the mainstream I'm sure you've seen where, oh, fruit sugars are gonna rot your teeth and they're bad for you. They're basically just grouping all sugars into one basket, which is not how it works at all. Our bodies are designed, if we're to run optimally, to run on fructose, which is simple sugar found in nature, found in all fruits, as opposed to sucrose and sucralose, corn syrup, whatever they want to name it. I'll probably post a list somewhere on my social media, but all those things, like natural flavors, they all have multiple different names to get around regulations and stuff like that. But just know, fructose is not the enemy. It's all the processed stuff. So basically, if you see on a packet of fruit, if you're buying like a dried product and it has anything added that's not the fruit itself, stay away. So with the fructose, the good thing is we don't get those insulin spikes, blood sugar spikes, because fructose does not need insulin to be absorbed by the body. It's a flat line of energy, and you can keep going all day long without any up and down, which you experience when you eat the processed stuff and you really load up on stuff that sits in your gut for a long time. So when our gut is happy, eating these natural plant foods, we're happy. All of our hormones mostly are produced in the gut, and there's a lot of research connecting the gut-brain connection. Our gut microbiome is basically our second brain. So they talk to each other all the time, lots of chemicals, lots of hormones communicating. And if the gut's happy, then we're happy, and vice versa. If the gut's unhappy, it's bloated, it's unsettled because we're eating the wrong stuff, it's generally a sign we need to change something. And you'll be amazed, especially on juice, when you're getting all the nutrients, but with none of the digestive burden, you're gonna feel great. That being said, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I have an apple, or I have X fruit or vegetable and I get bloated and I feel sick. There's nothing wrong with the food, I can guarantee that. It's something that's wrong with you. Looking inside, it's like your gut, your digestion, you need to detox something. There's nothing wrong with you per se, like you're fine, but there's something wrong inside of you that needs to be fixed. Because everyone should be able to absorb natural plant foods, fruits, nuts, beans, and is another one people freak out about. If any of these things cause you issue, then we need to look deeper, and you need to understand, you need to learn more, which is what I'm here to help you with. Okay, next. Protein. Protein. This is a big one. We hear it all the time. It's probably the main event, the biggest thing that people who eat meat love to harp on about. Where do you get your protein? How do you get it from plant foods? You need to eat dead flesh and, murdered animals. It's not the case. Most of the strongest animals on the planet only eat herbs, plants, fruits, nuts, seeds. Think silverback gorillas, which are primates. just like us. So we don't need protein per se, we need amino acids. Protein is just something, it's a sales term at this point. Just selling protein powders for everyone that wants to get big and strong. If you eat enough volume, which you will do to get your calories in, eating a plant-based diet, then you will get enough protein. Our body actually recycles most of the amino acids that it uses, hence why we can go 30, 40 plus days on only water. If that wasn't the case, then I'd be lying. So we need amino acids. If you get enough variety of plant foods and a range of colors and consistencies, you'll get enough. You can track all this stuff as well. I do. You can use MyFitnessPal, chronometer or chronometer, however you like to say it. You can get a general idea. It's not gonna tell you everything unless you pay, or just the way they test some things. It doesn't tell you everything, but you can get a general idea, at least of the calories. But yes, there's no reason you should be deficient in anything if you're doing this correctly. So when I first started going plant-based, it was actually before I started trying the fasting thing. I didn't know what I was doing. I basically did what I did on the fast, which was remove the food and not do anything else. I did it with the plant-based. I took the meat and the animal products out and just ate what was left on the plate. That's not what you should do, and it's not what needs to happen. You're going to feel crap like I did, but there's always going to be, depending on how you're eating, there's always going to be a detox process. Going back to the fastest, if you just go raw for a bit, it's going to take a while, but eventually your body will sort itself out. It's going to balance the pH. It's going to go from acidic to more alkaline, and then mix in the juices, do some fasting with some help, and eventually you'll equalize, and everything will kind of go into a state of equilibrium.